everyone? Hope you're having a great day. Doing it a little differently today. I just ran. Usually I do my video on my way to running. Today I'm gonna do my video on my way back from running. So if I look a little sweaty, please excuse me. So on my live stream yesterday and a couple comments on a video over the past week, people want to know if my opinion has changed about the TRD front sway bar. So the good news is I've had it on the truck now for about 9 days, and I've driven in a lot of different situations with it. So I want to fine tune my opinion for you a little bit. But one thing before we get started, you got to know, this is a little disclaimer. It's going to feel different on every Tundra. You got to remember that. I'm in a Platinum. I have BFG KO2 tires. I got the TRD Pro suspension with a little bit of lift. So the Platinum is pretty top heavy with the sunroof and all the stuff in it and all that kind of thing. So every truck's gonna feel a little bit different. But what I'm telling you now is what I'm feeling with the TRD front sway bar. So here we go. A couple things that I've learned. We'll get right to the good part of it. The truck in turns is amazing. And I'm talking about from turns when you're just, turning down a block, or when you're going through kind of like, sweeping turns at speed. Everything just feels better. It feels more, the truck just feels together, if that makes sense. Instead of going into a turn, I said this in my last video, instead of going into the turn and feeling a lot of body sway, or with the rear sway bar, it would hold the back together, but you'd still feel a little bit of sway up front. The whole truck kind of feels together in the turn. Any Tundra owner can tell you that when you go into a turn, sometimes you're kind of like this, or like this, because the whole truck wants to do that. But it's just not that it's not the case with that anymore. It feels a lot better. I'm not gonna say sports car, but it definitely feels really good going into the turns. And that's kind of the main purpose of the TRD front sway bar. The stability in cornering is unbelievable. And I'm telling you, that TRD rear sway bar and the front really complement each other to make the truck feel completely different when you're driving it. So that's one thing to note. But with every good thing, there's got to be some bad things. And what you're giving up, in my opinion, is some straight line characteristics. And what I mean by that, if you're driving into the wind, so the wind is coming at you head on, the biggest thing for me is before, without the front sway bar, the truck would feel, you kind of feel the wind get under you a little bit, and you're kind of, controlling the steering wheel to keep it straight. Nothing crazy. But now, with the TRD front sway bar in there, it's not just pulling the front of the truck around, it's pulling the entire truck around. Because like in cornering, the whole truck kind of works together as one suspension-wise now. So, when you turn the wheel right, it doesn't feel like the body's swaying. It's just, it all goes right, if that makes sense. I know some of this will be kind of weird, but that's the big thing for me. A crosswind, I feel like you got to have two hands on the wheel with that a little bit. But yeah, it just makes the truck feel different. It's definitely a rougher, jarring ride. Nothing insane, and that's why I did that disclaimer, because the TRD Pro suspension is going to feel different than your TRD off-road suspension. It's going to feel different than just your regular Tundra suspension that comes on the non-TRD trucks. But it's just worth noting that for me, it definitely feels a little bit more of a jarring ride. But I don't mind a rough ride at all, no big deal. But for me, so the front, I said this in the last video too, but I gotta say it again because I'm reiterating that I still feel the same way about it. I would say that when you would go and you'd hit a bump with the old setup on it, the truck would kind of hit the bump, but then it would kind of recoil like that, so you didn't feel like it was jarring too much. Now the truck will hit the bump and then come back, hit the bump, so you're getting more of this out of it. Just my opinion on it. A little bit more of a jarring ride for sure, a little bit more of a rougher ride. Overall, still very happy with the sway bar, strictly on the fact that it makes the truck just feel so amazingly different in turning situations. And I'll show you what I mean, that you don't go flying all over the cab like you used to. So right now we're at 30 miles an hour, and it's very controllable. And that's one turn there. And this next turn we're gonna go into at 40 miles an hour. It just makes the truck feel all together. So you're giving up a little bit on the actual suspension as far as like a nice comfortable ride, but yeah, you bought a Tundra. If you wanted a nice comfortable ride, you probably shouldn't have bought a Tundra. But yeah, so now we're going into this turn at 40, and as you can see, my body's not really reacting to it. Now normally you'd be like this, right? Any Tundra owner will tell you. So it really does help. Twitter and Instagram at TundraDude34, TundraDude34@gmail.com. You guys have a good day.